Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Let's Play series on Kerbal Space Program. I'm not playing Kerbal Space Program vanilla. What I'm playing is a specific mod which is better than starting manned. This has been specifically designed to retool the science system to force you to go outside a little bit more, and it's meant to change as well that you can immediately send your Kerbals out manned to wherever you want, because there's no life support. They can stay alone on the moon for years without a problem, and you can pick them up. So there's basically no sense in sending an unmanned probe. And the same goes for certain parts of science, where you can make a measurement of the temperature on a planet, yet you cannot send it back. So science has also been changed now to be all or nothing. You either get all of it back or you get nothing back, which means you have to actually bring it back, and that will be the case of, for example, goo experiments. But also the items have been retooled a little bit, as you can see, and the science value is a little bit different. And for instance, you can't get any science from Kerbal itself, so you do have to go to space to get science. So a lot of retooling. It's specifically mentioned not to be realistic, but to give more of a gameplay element feel to it. Now I'm playing this in science mode, not in the actual career mode, because that will kill me. As you can see, this game will be hard enough as it is. So let's start with our first basic ship, which is just going to be an unmanned probe. So all I have really is the one engine that I can stick on it, and for the rest I have nothing bar a thermometer and a communitron. Now one thing you'll find in this, and I'll demonstrate that by crashing this one, is that it's also a lot harsher when it comes to control. So I have here your basic rocket. All I've done is put this one antenna weighted 0.1 next to it. And if I launch this, just waiting up for it to load here. Now, what you can see is it's on the platform ready to go, and my joystick isn't working. That's great. I'll just use the basic controls. So as you can see, the controls are working fine, but when you launch you'll have no control because I simply have no wings. And you can see there's the one little antenna that's already pulling this thing way off to the side, for the simple reason that this rocket isn't balanced yet. So not only can I control nothing, I also need to make sure this is very, very stable. So let's just wait until our little tactical missile has impacted, and we have a catastrophic failure. So, back to the vehicle assembly, and I'm only going to go back to the vehicle assembly when I intentionally fail to demonstrate a concept, because I don't like basically the carefree system of we just start over and over and over again. The first thing I need to do for this one is to grab that communitron and at the very least duplicate it. There we go. And the same goes for the thermometer. I need to at the very least duplicate it so that this baby is balanced when I shoot it up in the air. So this is my first rocket, so I shall call it the X1. Time to save and launch. No need to save it really at this point, but might as well. Okay, the X1 is ready for liftoff. Now, one thing you'll notice for BTSM is the 2-hot thermometer is currently standing by to launch. So if I'd actually log temperature, you would get 0 signs from this. You could actually do something, but it doesn't make any use. Wonder if anyone would believe this reading actually came from the mun and save you the trip. No, no one believes that. Okay, so let's do the only thing we can do, which is lift off. As you can see, now that this thing is balanced, it is shooting straight up into the air as best as it can. Keep an eye on this though, because it will be slowly deviating to the side. But at the very least, it still says we're flying too low, because there's just no signs to be gotten from Kerbal itself. We need to, at the very least, just be, what, around 10k, I think, before we can actually start getting some signs. As you can see, we can just go straight up, and that's it. Beautiful shot of the moon in the background. So we are still far within the first range of the atmosphere, nothing's going on, but as soon as we hit the upper atmosphere over here, that's when you start seeing that we're flying low rather than too low. Should be around 12k, I think. There we go, flying low around 12k. So we log the temperature, we get 4 signs from this, and as you can see, 100% transmission. So let's go. It's transmitting. As you can see, that takes quite a bit of power, but we've received our 4 signs and we are nearly dead. So yes, I want to accelerate, because there's not much else that we can do but just watching this thing fly to the earth. Beautiful, beautiful sights as the textures start loading in slowly. There we go. Do love explosions. So you may believe it is a catastrophic failure, but I'm perfectly happy with the 4 signs we've managed to get from this. And let's see what we can get. So what we had so far, and I'm not going by all of these all the time because it's just way too much, but they are changed a little bit and I quite love them. What we'll get here is the basic batteries. Despite vicious rumors to the contrary, the pot one does not contain a potato, and dissemble it to try and find out will result in a call from our lawyers. Well, that does explain why it's so bad. Some solid rocket boosters, these are crucial to get this done, and fortunately a barometer to get us some more science. So let's get that for 4 signs. Well, I think our mission is obvious here. Oh, the previous one is still around. Let's dump this. Start with our basic probe head. Pull in a solid rocket motor. What I want to do with these boosters is I want to get as high as I can. So I'll get 1 set over here, and I'll get a 2nd set so I can fire them independently. So let's see. Yeah, I'd like this one separated. Start with the lower sets. One of that one, and then fire the major one. Now I still don't have any control, as you can see, no aerodynamic, no wing flaps, but at the very least I can add a few batteries now. It's another good reason to do them in 2 sets, I just want the 3 of them. Because as you can see at the bottom here, we now have a mass limit for the actual things that we can build. Not quite sure what determines it yet, but at the very least, if we start adding too much, we'll just absolutely fail at rocketry. Now let's see, the pressure barometer is 0.05 in size, is it? Yes it is. These are 0.025, so I'll just add 2 to the other side. Just as good, basic principle. So we're ready for our X2 to give us some more science. Let's launch. So again, I've tried to keep this one as balanced as possible, weight towards the bottom, equal weight distributions so we can get everything going, and there's no point in turning the SAS on because I don't have any. Now here you'll notice the same, standing by to launch. I could log pressure data, but it would give me 0 signs. So again, I have to wait until at least 1300 before I can even bother to get some decent signs. Now seems balanced enough, going straight up. It's just a question of height here. Okay, plenty of electrical charge as well, so that is excellent. Nearly out of the first set of boosters. Go, find the other set. Does it seem to me like these are slightly, yeah, clearly it's heaving to the left. So clearly these probably different drag is what I should look at. They'll be the same weight, but there's just a difference in drag that'll pull it to one side. I'm betting. Okay, tap the central one. Oh, we already got a temperature sign, so that shouldn't matter once we hit 1300. So if I flying low log here, yeah, there's nothing. But at the very least, we should be able to get 8 lovely signs. Now, as you'll see, that this one is a whole lot slower than the other one, and that is why we do need some of that battery work. See how high up we can actually get with this, and where exactly the difference between flying low and flying high is. I'm assuming again it's at that exact barrier, but maybe it's around 2500. No, we're still flying low. 30k then, maybe? 30k, yes, flying high. Let's get some more of that science. And let's get some more of that science if we can. Hey, 4 signs, that's odd. Okay, so we don't get perfect signs then. Well, at least we know we can reach about 45k, which is pretty good. And we got all the signs we can of this so far. Because what you'll notice is we don't actually have any manned cockpits yet, so we couldn't even do crew reports if we wanted to, let alone the fact that surface samples from Kerbal won't really matter, and neither will any EVA reports. The only time it starts becoming good is when you can actually get into space, and we are way off on that one still, because BTSM also comes with deadly re-entry, so even if you get into space, you're going to need the proper heat shields, you're going to need the right angle, the right vector, and we don't even have parachutes at the moment. So it is very challenging. Now I'm just gonna physics warp through this because we all know what this looks like. Beautiful starry night though. Now I'm wondering if this will pick up enough speed to start getting re-entry effects already. I don't think so, but you can always give it a go. Let's see. Flame out, temperature is building up, but now see it's already slowing down, so we're not going to get any burn effects here. Not yet. But at the very least, we get to watch another one of these explode. Oh, or bounce. Well, part of it survives. Progress is made. Catastrophic failure. I would beg to differ. Okay, 2020 lovely signs. Now here comes the devil's deal. We can only pick one of these. So it's either liquid fuel. I think we do need liquid fuel to get those later upper stages. Gravmax, gravioli detector. Oh gosh, we do need some science, but then if we're going to do that, we do need to be able to get the space first. Or parachute, which would be really nice to actually land something. And the cockpit, but the problem with the cockpit is, as you can see at the bottom, this cockpit's not pressurized. We're trying to figure out what that actually means. Thus, flying at extreme altitudes may void the warranty on any contained Kerbals. And you can see at the top right, as soon as you reach below 0.015 atmosphere, which is pretty low, this thing won't cut it anymore. So I'm not quite sure what the best choice would be here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a rocket and see if I can get it above 70k. If I can use the gravioli detector and get some signs in. Hopefully that should be at least 12 signs, so I can buy maybe liquid fuel engines. If I can't, then I think I should just try liquid fuel engines straight away and see if that can help me get into space. And this is why I love BTSM. If you play vanilla Kerbal, then there's no challenge. I can easily win vanilla Kerbal, if you can call it winning. But what I mean is I can easily just build something that works, and I never have these problems. But in this one, I can get completely stuck if you don't deal with it correctly. I'm hoping this will be able to fly. Oh, I see what's going on. This one needs to be separated. And the same when I play like a version of Scott Manley's Interstellar, that's no problem as well. You can just build whatever and that will work, no problem. But this one just vexes me. I wonder if this will work. At the very least it gives me 8 of the boosters instead of 6 total. I'm just hoping the first will work out. Because I'm of course also adding 2 boosters now, but let's hope it'll pay off. Boosting the other ones. Now that does give me some initial velocity. That's pretty good velocity so far, but now we'll drop off of course, since we're now relying on one engine rather than the full 4, and I can't ditch these ones with the couplers yet. So I wonder whether this will actually work. See, the problem with these small ones is you can only attach them to something. I can't actually make a rocket which pretty much consists just of these. And the reverse is true of the larger middle one. I can only use it once, I can't attach it to itself. But we're picking up some decent speed. If I can get this one up into space, gravioli detector should be the right choice, I think. It's promising, it's promising. Now let's just fast forward and see where we top off. I know I could go into map view, but I like this better. This gets us to space. Very good. Very good. Okay, yeah, let's revert flight on this one, since we now know that this is possible. Let's see. So we've got the transmitters on this. Let's get... Oh, of course. We're going to have to actually spend the signs to get the part. Let's go to the signs. Gravioli detector, please don't let me down. Buy it for the 16 signs. So I have the 4 sets of batteries on there. put a gravioli detector on there. I'm just doing the 2 because I want as little interference as possible. And we've got the X2A, because to be honest, I don't feel it's enough of a change to warrant a new name. But this baby will be the first to actually hit space and do some science there. Because the thing with the gravioli detectors is you need to do some science in space with those. And again, this is all because of the drive to add the gameplay element of getting out into space, because in vanilla Kerbal, the standard first set is that you just fly around Kerbal and you take surface samples from Turkish Space Center itself, EVA reports, and then basically you land the pod, you do an EVA outside of the pod, you get back in, you get back out, you get the floor, you do another EVA, you take a surface sample, you get back in, you move just 5 meters and then you do it again. And that to me is just, it's just too casual. It's just too strange to get all your science. And particularly now with the 0.24 Kerbal, with the whole, the missions and the contracts, what you get is that you can actually get 30 signs at the start just from shooting into space and then activating, I don't know, a lander. And that is just too easy in my opinion. It's okay, it's fun, but you can get too much science from it, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm hoping now that the addition of these batteries, because it's 4 batteries, is not going to be too much. That's now going to prevent us from going into space. This one's listing to the side quite a bit now. We are getting the speed up quite a bit, so I'm thinking we should be good, but just hold on to your hat. Okay, let's warp onwards a little bit, see what we can reach. But I am concerned we are slowing down way too much. Slowing down way too much. This is not doing anything. Well, we are going to watch you fall to a fiery death. Or maybe have a litho break, an unplanned litho break. Because just as you can aero brake, oh there we go, heating effects. Just as you can aero brake, slowing down because of the pure air resistance like we're doing now, you can also have, you know, a litho brake. But see, the aero braking is too quick to get any real damage done on these things. But this rocket has failed me, and so it must suffer. Oh, come on, suffer a little quicker. There we go. Satisfying. I am pleased. The explosions were satisfactory. Revert to the vehicle assembly though. Okay, let's see how we can fix this. This is a 0.1 mass, 0.2 drag gravioli detector. It's 0.05, but it does have 0.2 drag, and I think that might be the problem. I'm going to try something. Get that down to 1. Get this down to 1. Now this is 0.05 and this is a 0.1, so I'll put a second one here. Now here's what we're risking. This is 0.2 drag and this is also 0.2 drag, so we have twice as much drag on this side as on that side for this. I'm hoping that these things will actually somehow change the aerodynamics of it, but as far as I know, it doesn't. It just adds up all the drag of the sides and doesn't actually do any calculations. You would need Ferrum Aerospace for that, but we can always hope. So I think the electrical charge consumption is fine here from what you can see. At the very least we need to get into space, because otherwise we're just screwed with the signs that we have. The only upside is once we can actually get a Kerbal up into space, we can get some EVAs from there, I'm hoping. I've not played BTSM too much. I've had one longer game that I've run in it, and the absolute best I have done there was get an unmanned probe to go to the Mun. Not back, just to the Mun. And I don't even mean landing on the Mun, I meant it just about reached the orbit before it ran out of electricity and I was dead. Because the electricity has changed here as well. You don't get really functional solar panels early on, which was in stock Kerbal. Basically, as soon as you get those first tiny little solar panels, you just shoot for the Mun and you're done with it. And you can reach the Mun with your second ship. The only problem you have then is the electricity. So that is something that's really changed here, and I've not been able to get a Kerbal on the Mun in BTSM. It's more like BTSM than BTSM, to be honest. Okay, look at that beauty fly. Let's see what we can do with this. It's gone up to full 700. Oh man, I miss Kerbal Engineer telling me how much Delta V I have. There's no contracts. Okay, this may happen. This may work. Please work. Oh god, so close, getting so close. Low space, low gravity data, 25 signs, transmit! I think we won't have enough energy actually to transmit everything. About a quarter of it. Hooray. At the very least we get to send this rocket up a couple of times now. Because as you can see we could just about barely reach space. Well, we now get to enjoy this lovely rocket dying on us. Congratulations, you will be sacrificed to the mighty Nidhogg of peace and science. And again, we are seeing some heating effects, but nothing drastic, because it's not gone far enough yet. Well, that was disappointing. Okay. Catastrophic failure, they say. Let's see. That last one, please. At least that is. Is that the right one? 15 parts? Ah, well, just launch it. So since we've pretty much seen it now, I'm just going to do the physics warp at the start, really. I mean, we know what's going to happen here. There we go, just physics warp all the way into space. And let's do some of that again. As you can see, hopeless in space again. We're going to reach that same problem once we actually get something in orbit, that without RCS we have no way to control these, because there's no magic rings or whatever that we have to provide us with the fake RCS. Again, low space above the highlands, and what you'll find is that these are actually specific, and that is what I like as well. We can milk the gravity data from each and every biome. Now again, we'll get about a quarter of this sign sent, I believe. And that got us 5 more signs. Actually, can we just go to the Space Center? You are in flight, you cannot save. Damn. Fine, we'll just crash this down again. Doctor, I'm experiencing a slight burning sensation when re-entering. Anything may have happened? Yes, I'll admit that was a corny joke. Sue me. See, that's what I wanted these guys to do. This is far more satisfying. Okay, how much science do we have in total? We just keep barely reaching space, so I don't think we can add more batteries. But we have 18 signs now. Let's see, I can get parachutes because I think... No, I should get some general rocketry, actual liquid fuel engine, so we can get to space a little bit more reliably. Once we can get there a little bit more reliably, we can get the gravity detectors to get more signs from the rest. And since we now also have winglets, we can actually control it once we get enough. And the next goal, I think, should be some kind of decoupler, which is not going to get anywhere without decouplers. Or, now, parachutes to get, because you get signs from returning something safely. I think I'll call it quits for there, actually, for the first one. We've gotten enough signs, we've gotten up there to actually get some signs and return safely. So let's save this, and hopefully I'll keep this going and entertain you with my failure to reach the Mun.